They say there's a lot you can gain from a person with very few words, which is indeed true, because it takes a person 2 or 3 words before you can find out where he's coming from. Just like looking at certain body languages. Okay, but you got groups out here based on gimmicks and followings and so forth that they woo the crowd. But yet these motherfuckers is they're not deep at all. You know, and you see that a lot going on among Israelites. Yeah, Jake comes off as being extra deep. You know, they have these great orators and these great erratic speeches, but overall, they're not really saying anything, man. You know, like a horrible breakdown on the mark of the beast, which we know what Nate is doing with that. And I just use him as an example, okay, because there's several more. But basically, you know, he was winging it. You know, basically stating that the MOTB was sin, and he tried to correlate it with Revelation 17:4 and 5. But if you look into what he was saying, it has no merit behind it. It's like, where you even make this shit up? But see, his zombies, as we like to call it, and we're just using him for an example. A lot of times, man, these guys hear it because they're so in a cultive personality or a cultive mindset. They'll believe anything that he says because it sounds good. Okay? Even going back into that scripture, I believe in Sirach, when it goes into when a rich man speak, everybody extols it to the clouds, but when a poor man speak and stumble, they help to overthrow him. Because in this world, you have to realize it's something called status. Okay, and then you have people that's oftentimes having to prove themselves, even if they've done great on the job. Okay, because certain people just have their perception of you or what they think. Okay, so when you come into certain Israelite groups like Great Millstone, for example, we're called bums, we're called the lower base Israelites because we're rough, we're plain, and we don't wear fancy garments. So therefore, we're already written off as not being equally important as anybody else because we don't have the sayings of the world, so to speak. Okay, like in class today, they made a perfect example, and I knew where they were going with it, but the teacher, she was like, you have people that may be knowledgeable, then you have people that's considered unlearned. And our definition of being unlearned, according to the scriptures and according to the people of the world, is vastly different. So I was in prophet mode, but you know, in my mindset. So I asked, I said, well, what do you mean about people being unlearned? Because she said certain people put on a facade. Okay, and that's absolutely right. Certain people put on a facade and make it appear that they have the answers or the knowledge or the keys, but really they don't have it, but it's a mask they wear. Someone's like, well, what do you mean about being unlearned? And of course she gave me a very mediocre, I won't say mediocre, she gave me a very elementary answer, something I could expect from people of the world. She said, well, meaning that, you know, certain people education stop at a 2nd or 3rd grade level, but life has pushed them to be who they are, and I can agree with that. Okay, but you have deeper meanings of being unlearned. Okay, because a learned man, and she gave the perfect example on there too, somebody that's not really educated. We like to say educated. Now, when you look at the discipleship of Yahweh Shai, you were able to distinguish the men who was with Yahweh Shai versus the men who came under the law of the Pharisees or the scribes and Pharisees or the learned men. Okay, like when you looked at Paul and you looked at Apostle Peter, okay, Apostle Peter was the head of the church by far. Okay, the Most High built the church upon Peter. That's what his name means. It means rock. So Apostle Peter, and you know, he understood the law because he was an Israelite. Of course, he was of the circumcision, so he understood what it was to be an Israelite. He knew it. But as far as the deep mysteries and things like that, who's to say that he came into understanding of those things before Yahweh Shai came to him? Okay, who's to say if he had a past history of knowing that he was David or Moses, Abraham? You know, who's to say that? Jacob? Who's to say that? We really don't know. Okay, but as he walked with Yahweh Shai, his knowledge base increased because the Lord put the Spirit on him. Versus like Paul already had it, but he was missing the main ingredient, which was Yahweh Shai. Okay, because Paul said, I'm a Pharisee of the Pharisee, meaning that he was taught in the law, he was brought up in the law, he went to school with the prestigious men, he was a Roman citizen, so therefore he already had the Latin down pat. Okay, he knew Ephesus, he knew these things and how to navigate and how to connect with those Israelites because he grew up in an environment that he learned those things. You see what I'm saying? Versus Peter growing up in the land of Judea only had certain access to certain resources, man. which does not make him less important than Paul, but to show you that the Lord still used Peter to be the head of the church, though he wasn't considered the prestigious one among the church, okay? Because Paul was on a deeper level than him because of the experience. You see what I'm saying? But he wasn't less important. Now, where I'm getting at with that is that with fair speeches, it can appear that a man is on a level, but he's really on no level at all. But people of the world are simple anyway, so they're gonna gravitate to what they're, to what they they're gonna gravitate to what they, I won't say agree, or what they can relate to the most. You see? So versus a man like me, and the teacher called it earlier the week. She said, what I see in you, she said, you look more like a street type minister person. She said, you look like you're good for street ministry or street outreach, which is true. You know why? Because of my background. Yeah, I went to college, for a little bit, but, I didn't graduate with a 4-year degree. I never incorporated my mindset around school or college or being learned in that aspect. My learning experience come from being hands-on and learning what I learned through experience, and also studying and reading, what was given to me through the elders and the apostles, man. But I didn't go to a theological school like Vocab Malone to get the breakdown on Genesis 1:1, which the shit they teach in the church is off anyway. You see what I'm saying? So men like us would be considered unlearned, okay, because we don't have the credentialing behind what we teach. So basically what we teach is not going to be extolled. It's going to be took all types of ways. It's going to be twisted. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be saying, oh, you're making it up. It's going to be coachish, okay, because we're not saying what the mainstream say. Like they say, majority rules, and majority don't rules. That's folly, okay, because the elect is not the majority, okay, but the minority. Because even of all Israel, you're only going to have the election that's going to be saved according to faith and grace, okay? So certain guys, like, look at Malcolm X, very good speaker, okay, hands-on. What's the guy, W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, some of these men that speak at these seminars and shit like that, man, a lot of these pastors, they sound good, that's why Romans 16:18, it says, through fair speeches they deceive the heart of the simple. Because Jake is simple, man, okay? If it sounds good, it look good, Jake gonna go with it. Oh, that look good. Like, we give the analogy of a car, okay, the analogy of a vehicle, right? Now, Jake go off the perception on how things look. Jake is not going to go into diagnosing the engine, transmission, the horsepower. He's not going to go into all the kinks that make the car run and make the car what it is. But if the car has a physical shell that looks good, Jake is going to get it because it looked good instead of testing it, Niggas do it all the time, man. They buy cars and find out the engine has been tampered with, the transmission is getting ready to go out. They don't have any idea how many accidents this car has been in. They don't know if it's had the transmission replaced. Jake don't do the research on that. But a Hellcat driving Jake, oh, it's a Hellcat, he gonna buy it no matter what condition it's in. Why? Because Hellcats are popular. Everybody glorify them, and everybody allude to them driving like fucking monsters, man. So Jake won it, no matter what the repercussions is. And it's the same thing when you listen to these false pastors, man. Okay, what is it? Micah 3, when the scriptures go into the princes of Israel, they have not warned the people, and have they teach for hire, and they judge for reward, and they filleting the skin off Jake. That's what they're doing, okay? Because they're going to tell you a feel-good message or a sentiment rather than telling you the truth, man. That's why Paul said, have I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth, okay? Because what you have to understand in this world, truth is an enemy, okay? Truth is an enemy because we're living in a world full of lies and deceit. But everybody think the path that they're going down is the right way because people are individuals. They're individualists. They're self-motivated. So, well, not self-motivated, but they're individualists, or they think with an individual mindset. Well, I'm gonna pledge Kappa because this, all that bullshit. Okay, people don't focus on the fact of being right because they don't want to be wrong. Okay, but everybody's mindset, they think that they're being right and they're not. That's why the majority of this population is going to be wiped out in the time of Jacob's trouble. Why? Because there's no truth in them. Okay, there's no truth in these people, and the Spirit of the Lord is not dealing with them. That's why the scriptures say, he who will be departed from evil maketh himself a prey. Okay, so you come out of this wicked present world and you try to do right and you try to serve the Lord, and you bringing up the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, they look like, Yahweh, who is that? And then you go into the doctrine and the curriculum of the doctrine and tell them how women are supposed to be subjected to men. Men are supposed to, live king lives, have hierarchy, multiple women, things like that. They start to question it, and they start to question your integrity. They start to question your knowledge base, because in their mindset, they've already had an interpretation on what they feel is right. Okay, but if it's not coming out of the scriptures, then we don't give a damn about your opinion, because people have gotten so far away from the Bible as being fact and consensus to the truth, because there's so many different dominant denominations, religions. People interpret the scriptures on their own being. So when you tell them, yes, we have the pure, authentic interpretation, 100% true, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, because they're like, wait a minute, everybody says that. What make you different? Okay, you saying this, but they're saying that. And when you go upon precept, they ain't gonna hear it, because in their mindset it's like, okay, you twisting it, because they don't have the light. Okay, Yahweh Shai say, what thou speakest to they ask Yahweh Shai, they say, well, why does you speak it to thou them in parables? And he said, well, because it is given it to you to know the mystery of the kingdom of heaven, and to them it is not given. Okay, so they're gonna be lost. No matter if they got 10 college degrees, they can have 30 college degrees, they can be an accredited doctor, they can be a psychiatrist, they can be a cop, whatever bullshit they're involved in, they're not gonna extol it over the scriptures, man. And one reason why the Bible has gotten away from so many people's minds, because people feel like it's been interpreted several times, all this and this and that. And even on top of that, man, oh shit, my dumb ass, I go here. Even that, the concept of a white Jesus, that threw the whole paradigm off. Okay, you're enslaving a bunch of people, and then you put this white man up in this feel-good message. Most people in this world have a vengeance type mindset. So from a church or from a theological standpoint, getting vengeance is wrong. Okay, now the scriptures does say, avenge not yourselves and wait ye upon the Lord, but it's not all to have that righteous mindset of recompense. And in the church, they teach you it's not good to have a mindset of wanting to recompense, when in fact that's not even healthy, bro. Okay, I always say a healthy dose of recompense is always good, because it keeps you on edge, it keeps you sharp. Yahweh Shai is going to deal with it. Revelation 1:7, it says, he should come, and behold, every eye should see him, and they should bewail him, even those that pierce him. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is coming back with that recompense, with that judgment in his spirit, because it's natural, man. So when you're teaching the Bible from a unbalanced perspective of forgive, love, which they don't understand the definition of love anyway, then it becomes watered down to the point people's like, you know what, we leaning on our own understanding. Okay, and that's on them, because the Lord didn't open up their understanding to understand it. This is the book of Solomon, brother, GMS Virgin Island Straight Gate, 1 Corinthians 4:9. It says, for I think the Most High has set forth us the apostles last, as it were appointed to death, for we have made a spectacle unto the world, and to the angels, and to men. When you go into a spectacle, it's something to gaze at. Okay, a spectacle could come in the form of being embarrassed, being different. You know what I'm saying? A spectacle into this world. We're a spectacle into our own people, because 2/3 of Jake, they blatantly reject the truth. Okay, they're the biggest enemies. Like when you look at the Israelites that came up against Jeremiah, gainsayers or naysayers, you know what I'm saying? Certain wicked priests, they came up against Jeremiah, and they sucked the digger pit for him and tried to put him to death. Why? Because, hey, the spirit of the Lord was not resting upon those men that came against him, because Jeremiah was made ultimately a spectacle of this wicked world, man. Same thing with Yahweh Shai, same thing with us. So don't fret yourselves, brothers, man, if you feel like you're not getting the shine or you're not getting the recognition from these peers in the world. It ain't about that. Because once again, hey, scriptures say, have I become your enemy because I told you the truth? Okay? Most people in the westernized societies, they don't agree with women being in order. Why? Because they don't push that here. You tell a woman, shut up when a man is talking. Put your head down. Be him. Show humility to that. They're not going to go for that because they have not been taught that. And on top of that, they've been taught a poisonous mindset here in the West. But when you speak on these things, and other cultures know it, but when they come to America, somehow they get this sudden case of amnesia. Now they don't remember shit. Now they don't remember the customs, because they get a taste of the freedom juice or the witchcraft. Then they totally throw the morals behind them. You see? It tells you that in Revelation. It says all the nations were made angry because they drunk the wine of the wrath of fornication. The fornication is all this bullshit that you're seeing. Democracy, just to sum it up. And we know what comes from democracy. Okay, look at the Democratic Party and look at the low life pieces of shit that run the government, or that's the face of the U.S. government. Look at them. Look at Kamala. Look at this guy Biden. Look at this cabinet. Look at Rachel Levine. Look at what they're doing with the rainbow or the alphabet community. Look at what they're doing. Totally degenerates, man. But when you shun that, oftentimes you ain't right, you know? So that's pretty much it, brothers, man. And I don't want to go too long. Got some other lessons in mind I want to put out today. But I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, by Shemi Hawashai, by Shemra Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, shalom and a ball. Shalom.